Hello everybody, Vigo Shadow here, and today we have another video, which means there's more units. And specifically, I'll be talking about both units, Thankful Heart, Alpha, and Be My Guest, Gamma. Now, what I have to say about this banner is that it doesn't give us that pretty little incentive that it gave us on the last Revival banner, which is kind of upsetting, but we'll see if the units are actually up to par with even trying to pull this type of banner. So right off the bat, we have a healer, Thankful Heart, and we have Be My Guest, Green Gamma. So let's just go ahead and check them out right away. I've also did some videos for both the new units that are idle, so you can go ahead and check them out and see if they're worth pulling compared to this banner. But I think I'll sum it up in terms of this banner. So, let's go to the profile here and first check out Thankful Heart Alpha. First, let's check out that background, which I gotta say, I definitely like this background a lot more than some of the other backgrounds that they do have. She's got her hand on the table, and then there is fireworks in the background, which it looks very cool. You can actually see this reflective detail of the wine and the drinks and the cake and the flowers, which I think is really cool. So I do like that art a lot, actually. But let's check out the max stats right off the bat. Let's go from power to healing boost there. Let's check out healing boost to overheal and the grouping. Let's flick this back to initial there and go to the skill. So let's check out her hidden technique right off the bat. Cheers to the Shadows. And this one is a decent, I'd say standard hidden technique heal, which recovers the HP of all allies by 200% of attack. Also raises the attack by 10%. Further raises the attack by 20% for 10 seconds if it's 7 shadows. So obviously that's pretty big because essentially you have a heal on top of a massive attack boost, which is up to 30%, and you might as well be running. I mean, if it's not 7 shadows, it's still 10% attack, which I'd say 10% attack, decent. 30%, now we're talking. That's good. Let's check this out, what it looks like awakened, in fact. Well, it's a little minor. I'd say it's 10% more if it's 7 shadows, and then it's because it's 15 on the regular and 25 if it's 7 shadows, so a total of 40. I'd say that's not a significant enough of awakening for me to say that's worth it. It is 10% more, so I mean, damage is damage, but like, I mean, that's just a small, minuscule change to me personally. Let's check out the skill 1, which is Wallflower. So this is a standard heal, but on top of the standard heal, it further raises the speed by 20% for 15 seconds if it is green elemental. And that's actually really good because essentially you're giving speed to the weakest member, or not the weakest member, but whoever's getting hurt the most. Which, speed to your, I think, raising defense would, no, speed is still better. Raising defense is good to kind of like, help that unit that's getting hurt pretty bad out in a bad spot and keep them more defended. But speed would be better because you're churning out more attacks, so speed is always more valuable. So it's better that it's speed, actually. Let's go to the awakened format of that. It is 5 more seconds, which I'd say, I mean, small detail there. It's longer time, but it's 30% speed, so I think it makes up for it, and that's probably one of the I'm not sure if it's going to be a better one. There might be some better skills that lie ahead, but still, 30% or 20% speed is still noteworthy with a standard heal, nonetheless. Next, we have Happy Hour. And with this one's looking promising, so it raises the attack of all allies by 10% for 15 seconds. Further raises the speed for 30% for 15 seconds if it's green elemental. Obviously, we're seeing a pattern here. This unit is able to raise attack and speed of all allies on top of giving them heals, which is absolutely excellent. Some of the best stat boosting stuff that you can have is speed for 1 and attack for 2. That is great. Honestly, that's really great. Let's check this out when it looks like awakened here. Um, no stat boost there, but 5 seconds for both speed and attack. So again, not a really good awakened for me, to be honest. It's just 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds is 5 more seconds, but still. And you might have more double dip if you have the 5 seconds, but it's just not worth awakening in my opinion. Special ability. At the start of the wave, look at it. Look at that again. Another speed again. But this one's permanent. At the start of the wave, raises speed of all allies by 10%. Further raises speed by 15% if it's 7 shadows permanent. Now let's see what this looks like awakened. Pretty significant, or actually, it's only 10%, but out of the rest of the awakenings, this is probably the best one since it's a permanent value, and it's by 10% on the speed. So if let's just count them up here, right? I won't look at them at awakened. I'll just say base value. Let's say it's base value, and let's say it's 7 shadows if you have the groupings right. Okay. So 10% here, 15% on the 7 shadows. So that would be a total of 25. Then we have speed for 30 seconds, which is a total of 55. Then we have speed again for another total of 20, which is 75% speed at base, regular values on all this, if these all like line up together. Then we have hidden technique. That doesn't do speed, but it raises the attack. So we can go up to 75% speed, which is actually big. That is big for us. So the speed is actually significant once you consider how many skills it's stacking into. Now let's just check out attack, because we have 30% attack if it's 7 shadow, so 30% there. 30% there, and then happy hour is another 10%, so 40% attack. And then this one's just speed, so 40% attack, which is really big, and then 75% speed if they all line up, but still. There's a lot of speed stacks in there. There's a lot of attack. This is an older unit, but let's just check out her linked gear. So at the start of the wave, raises damage inflicted of 7 shadow allies by 15% permanent. So you could pretty much throw that on top of the 40% attack that we did have. Even though it's not an attack, it's damage inflicted, but still, that's like 15% more. So we're talking maybe 55% more. Like, this is really good. This is actually a decent magic gear because you're helping out allies in such a crucial way. So as a green healer, this is actually pretty damn good, because of how much speed you're giving to the team and how much attack you're giving to the team. So in my opinion, this character really does get a pass. Good green checkmark. It has been a good unit of the past, probably up in the god tier in the past, but how does it stack nowadays? I think I'll get to that in a minute, but what I can tell you is that Sherry is the other green healer because of her magic gear, SS Plus gear. It has actually made her more valuable than Be My Guest Gamma. Or not Be My Guest, Thankful Heart, I believe, because I'm starting to see I was starting to see Thankful Heart a lot less, and I'm starting to see this Sherry a lot more. And that's because of her magic gear. So let's just go ahead and take a look at her magic gear. Specifically, I keep talking about this one because it is that good. So you have a shield on top of... So you shield all allies, and then you're raising the speed by 50% for the whole wave, and then you're also raising the damage inflicted by 20% if it's human. So the big thing that she does is that she automatically does 50% flat rate speed for the whole wave, which makes Sherry a hell of a lot better than Thankful Heart Alpha. And that's solely because of her magic gear. But if we take in some other factors, what Thankful Heart Alpha can do that Sherry cannot is raise the attack by like about 40%. I mean, thanks to this hidden technique here. That's able to, well, 30% for base, but then there's also another 10% value somewhere in there as well in the mix. So she is actively raising attack And if these skills all line up, like all the speed stacks with all the requirements met there, she will outshine this Sherry's speed, but not in the long term, because long term Sherry does for the whole wave 50% speed, which I don't think that could be beat. She also does damage inflicted for the whole wave if it's human. So just thinking about that, it's easy to replace Thankful Heart Alpha for that specific setup. So, in my opinion, Thankful Heart Alpha isn't. I'd say on the tier list, she's really high up there. She's past a great unit, and I think she excels to an excellent. But she falls short of being a god tier unit like Sherry. So that's kind of where I put her in that category. She's still a very exceptional unit, and if you do pull her, she is worth putting in for some teams. So definitely not a waste of the unit. I don't want to downplay that. Let's just check out her Awakening roadmap before I leave this character here. So, like I said, there's a lot of things on the skills that I did not like as much, with Thankful Heart probably being the best. Maybe, because of this, yep, because it's a permanent value, so having her at A1 wouldn't be bad because the speed is a permanent value. So you would have 35% speed as a flat rate, with going a little bit faster here and there with the other techniques. So it would pretty much almost be on par with Sherry's speed, almost, at this A1. So Thankful Heart Alpha at A1 is not bad, and I'd say almost matches Sherry. But the thing that this one does is the fact that it has attack. And I know people could probably go back and forth and argue that, oh, Thankful Heart Alpha is way better than Sherry. And I can agree, because I can agree a little bit, because her at A1 can outshine Sherry in some moments of speed. But she doesn't provide a shield to the whole team. She doesn't do that. But she does bring an attack to the table. So if you bring in Sherry, you're bringing defense. If you bring in Thankful Heart Alpha, you're bringing heat. You're bringing a lot of attack to the table with some speed. So, but like I said, it's a toss-up. They're both really good units. So, I mean, why go out of the way for Thankful Heart Alpha if you already have green, healer Sherry? That's just kind of how I look at it, but she is by no means a bad unit. She is very, very good. Just I want to make that clear. Let's move on to Be My Guest Gamma, since she is a green tank, right? Let's check out her max stats. We're going... Oh, actually, before we do that, let's just check out the art, which I really like this art. I think they did the art right. Look how bright that is. This whole, ship is illuminated. The drinks in the back look so good, and Gamma is the front of attention, which is amazing. I like this art a lot. I like both of them, actually. I think they did justice by this that event's art. Either way, we have power to healing boost to overheal, and the grouping there at the bottom. Next we have the skill, and the skill is quite a lot of shields. I see a lot of shields in the mix, so I'm very curious to see how this unit operates with its shields. So right off the bat, we have the same amount of shield that Sherry would give you, 200% of all allies for 15 seconds, raises the attack for 15 seconds if it's 7 shadows, and recovers own HP by 100%. So, not bad for a tank, because essentially you are throwing a shield on everybody. You're covering them for sure, but you're not doing damage reduction, so think about that. Still a really good shield, and you're also raising the attack, so I mean, think about that. That's actually a really, really decent ability there, and you're healing yourself, which is not bad. Baby heal, but still. Or sorry, I should say standard heal. That's what it is, a standard heal. Now we have Super Shield. Let's just check this out here. Shield's damage, little over a standard 100% shield, so that's actually really good. Of all green elemental allies by 15%. Further recovers SP by 80 if 7 shadows. That, like I said, again, that's another shield, so that's really good. And then it recovers SP as well of 7 shadows. I think that's pretty good. I think it's a little value for the SP, but I mean SP. I mean you could maybe if you had somebody that's boosting SP as well, you can get another hidden technique out of stuff for 7 shadows. So that's actually really nice. Now let's check out the oddball, her skill 2, the Magic Sword Act. So here we have inflicts 150% damage on a single enemy with the highest attack, further lowers their attack by 20% for 7 seconds. Honestly, I think this one's oop, dang it. I had it at I didn't had it at max. So let's just check it out here. Cuz we had some missed values. It was starting to look really promising here. Let's go to the regular here. So 15%, you have a 5% increase there. So 10% is not bad. 150 isn't bad either. It's just 50% shy when it's awakened. So this is still not bad. The time doesn't change at all. It's just a little value, honestly. Yeah, just a little bit of a value. So it's not too much of a change there. For Super Shield, definitely a little bit of a change because we have Standard Shield instead of the 150. And then we have the SP by 50 instead of 80 on the awaken there. Still, I'd say smaller values. Magic Sword Act, now let's check it out. We're up to speed. We have 150. Damage don't change, which makes it kind of a really bad awakened. I think this is probably her worst one. 150 on the damage. So that's actually piss poor damage. I mean, I wouldn't say that's a good damage at all. Forget about the damage. We're looking at the further lowers attack by 15% for 7 seconds. Now, let's check out her special ability, which is also a skill, Be My Guest. Each time a buff is received, shields damage 150% of skill user's attack on a single ally with the lowest HP for 15 seconds, with the cooldown of 3 seconds. Not bad, because essentially, you're kind of covering that, you're kind of doing what a healer would do. They're going to heal somebody that is the lowest of health, and this unit would be operating on that same, this skill would be operating on that same level where you're protecting that unit that's getting hurt the most, which is nice. I'd say this character is literally shields, a lot of shields. But how good are the shields though? We have 150 for the hidden technique, and then we have 100, so like it's almost like a standard heal, but that's on everybody. Everybody does get a shield with the super shield. And everybody gets a shield for the Desert Disaster. So that's pretty good. And each time you receive a buff, you're also getting shield as well on the lowest one. So I think all in all, for this unit specifically, it does what a tank should, and that is keeping the team alive. And it does this through a lot of shields. So that is good, especially when you pair it with Sherry. I mean, think about how much shield you're actually putting on. I mean, we have, like, think about it. Sherry, start of the wave, throws up a shield, and then immediately, almost immediately after, you have Super Shield activating, which is another shield on top of that. And then you have this mini shield on the person that's getting hurt the most. I can see a lot of potential with this unit. It does outshine pretty much every green tank, even NPC Technique Sid. For sure, it definitely outshines. So in terms of regular character pool, this unit will beat out people on the regular character pool for green tanks. So if you do happen to get this one, this is definitely worth replacing with whatever you got. Besides, if you have certain event units, I'll go ahead and name, if you have that Shared Silence Epsilon, that is probably easily one of the best green tanks, so you won't need to go for this unit for sure. If you have that, of course. Now the linked gear. We have, at the start of the wave, lowers damage inflicted for yellow elemental enemies by 50% for 20 seconds. Now, that's actually a very considerable amount. I would rather have damage inflicted for the team instead, which would be a lot better, or another shield to add to the shield madness. That would have been also nice too. But this is good because essentially this unit right here is saving your ass. Let's just say that for you know, there's just a lot of things that this unit can do because it's lowering the attack of the enemy. It's also lowering their, like, essentially their damage inflicted by a large value of 50%, which is going to make it seem like pillow hits to your green team, which is awesome because it's going to really work well for, like, World Tree, or even like maybe Armageddon, depending on if how hard the boss is hitting. If the boss is not hitting hard at all, this is definitely a waste of a space. But in terms of like, I'd say in terms of like a green tank, she holds pretty high. So I'd say on the tier list, she'd probably be somewhere around either a high great or a low excellent, in my opinion. So let me actually clarify the tier list a little bit, right? So we have at the lowest tier, this is like F tier, avoid all units, or avoid this unit at all costs, and then just directly above that we have like a C tier, which would be bad units, and then B tier is okay units, A tier is good units, S tier is great units, SS tier is excellent, and then SSS or SS plus is god tier units. And this one falls along, like I said, low excellent, high great on my little scale that I've kind of made up. I should also check the, I forgot to check the Awakening roadmap here, which is at A1, you have this baby shield that gets buffed, which is the worst in my opinion. You should not have that one be there. We have the super shield at 150, which is the skill 1, which is probably the better one of her kit, which would be A2. A2 is probably good because we have magic gear slot at A3, magic sword act, and then of course one of her better ones are tucked away at A5 with a 200% good shield, more attack and recovery. So obviously A5 is good, A4 is terrible, A3 as magic gear slot, A2 is great, and Be My Guest is bad. So honestly, your Awakening roadmap isn't the best, A2 being the better one, but it's not worth grinding for A2 because of cords and stuff, so it is not necessarily worth it for the Awakening roadmap, and it seems like that's the case for both of these units here. Not too much besides Alpha being at A1. So, yeah. So essentially, is this banner worth pulling? So normally I'd say for a lot of the revival banners, the new units definitely get more attention. They have more like 3-in-1 abilities compared to these older units. But however, with this specific banner, revival banner, I think it's a little bit more worth it than other revival banners in the past because we have two pretty damn good units on there. Because Be My Guest Gamma is actually an incredible tank if you're looking to up your tank game for green, and with the better one of the two being Thankful Heart Alpha with what she does. But still, this is definitely a passable banner. By no means you should be like trying your hardest to get these units because they're a must. Obviously, Shadow Festival units might have something way better in store, worth saving your gems, but if you have extra gems lying around, you really like the units, you really like them, and or you just still want to up your green team game, especially like maybe early to mid gamers for specifically your green teams, because I know green teams definitely need a lot of help in that area. This is definitely not a bad banner to go for, especially since you're going to definitely need a green healer, and Thankful Heart our Alpha does a pretty good job with having some moments being able to outshine Sherry in terms of providing damage support to the team. So that's just something to considerable to go off of. Thankful Heart Alpha is definitely on the high excellent, almost borderline god tier unit. And Gamma is pretty high up there as well, being like a low excellent or a high great, in my opinion. So that's all I have for those two characters. Otherwise, I'd be rambling on. Yeah, this is Vigo, signing off.